All right, everyone. Welcome to the Monday Night Live with Greg and Neil. We are here. We are Matterhorn Business Development. This is our usual Monday Night Live where Greg and Neil talk about all sorts of different topics and subjects depending on what's going on or things based off of our most recent experiences with clients, things of that nature. And so welcome to you all. Welcome, Greg.
Hey, happy to be back. Here we are again.
Here we are again. It's Monday. It's 7
Yeah,
o'clock, which
Monday
means this is
again.
where we are. If you're new to the channel, check us out down below. We'll have information about how to apply to work with us with our Adventure to Profit program. You can also read Greg's book, Fun at Work, which you'll see over his shoulder right there. We are also Profit First Professionals, which you will see over by his other shoulder by his cat. Lightning is pointing out your Profit First book. There you go.
There's some sort of a reflection on my.
Yeah, there is. I was wondering where that was coming from.
Where's that come from?
I don't know.
Wasn't there last week.
These are the things that happen in live streams that don't happen on our other videos.
It's not part of the cover.
Anyway, we've been growing like crazy. We've had all kinds of people reaching out to us the last few weeks from YouTube, so we appreciate all of that. You can also join our YouTube membership program. You just hit the join button down below, and we have our next live training tomorrow at noon Eastern time for all the YouTube members that are out there. We're going to be talking about direct mail marketing and printing promotional pieces, print promo. Direct mail is still really effective.
Even
it's like
more effective.
Yeah,
nobody's using it, or not as many are using it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like bell bottoms. It comes back in style.
That's right.
So that'll be tomorrow at noon for all of the YouTube members. So join the Explorer program and you could be a part of that. But tonight we had a few different topics we kind of wanted to hit on. So what did you wanted to start, Dad, talking about the difference between a CEO and a business owner? Is that correct?
Yeah. And, it's, I think it could be a bit intimidating to just bark out and say, I'm the CEO, meaning Chief Executive Officer. And there is a difference between being a CEO and a business owner. Now, they're not exclusive, but it depends on your viewpoint of what your role is in the business, at least in my definition, my estimation. So Chief Executive Officer is not just a CEO of Apple or Chevrolet, General Motors, or whatever. CEO means you're the leader. You're leading all of the other executives. And you can say, well, in my company, there's only 4 of us. And, I'm a stained glass maker. And I still do most of the stained glass making. I'm like, all right. So then are you going to be the business owner, or are you going to be the Chief Executive Officer and lead the way? And so there is a distinction if you just assume a different viewpoint or a different way of looking at it, that, okay, so you own the business, and most small business owners that we work with are overworked, underpaid. They're the chief cook and bottle washer. They're down in there making the product or delivering the service. And on top of that, they have to pay the bills, order the products and the raw materials, do the hiring and the firing, make sure that the accountant gets everything. And so you can be a small business owner, but for me, by definition, everything ends up just right here on top of your shoulders. Now, for me, the viewpoint of a Chief Executive Officer is I am the leader, I am the owner, but I delegate. So rather than take this task and dump that on my shoulders, and this task and dump that on my shoulders, and this task and dump that on my shoulders, well, this task comes in and I give that to Neil. And this task comes in and I give that to Abby. And then this task comes in and, okay, I'm doing that yet. And so it's about your vision of where you're going? And do you really want to be the stained glass maker for the next 5 or 10 or 20 years? If you do, and you want to own the business and you're fine with the way things are, then you're going to be very happy being a small business owner. However, if you have a bigger vision and you want to be the one that is more out creating more stained glass jobs and getting bigger work and going to make presentations and going to the Chamber of Commerce meeting and shaking hands, and you want to have people who are working in the business while you are out promoting the business, then you have more of a vision, like you're going to become the chief executive officer who has things come in and then has people to delegate them to. So it's kind of it's just a matter of vision. And I mean, right now at Matterhorn, there's 3 of us, Greg and Abby and Neil, but I definitely consider myself the CEO. And that doesn't mean that Abby and Neil are excluded from their creativity. By all means, they have their own areas of responsibility that they take full responsibility for, and they're creating on it. The YouTube channel, this live broadcast, this is all Neil's idea. The membership program, that's all Neil's idea. In the last, 12 months, 14 months, we've gone from 800 subscribers to 5,500 subscribers. Abby chips in a ton on that also. But every week we have our staff meeting. The YouTube statistics are what Neil reports on. And so it's not like Abby and I don't contribute, and Abby definitely has a major role in that, but this is kind of like Neil's area of responsibility, and I give that to them, give that to him. Abby's responsible for Adventure to Profit. That's completely her baby. And obviously Neil and I help with that. But I guess my point of the first part of this is, what do you see as your vision for the future? If you see as your vision for the future having people underneath you that you can take a task and say, oh, I hired such and so to do that, then you're looking to be the CEO. But if you're like, no, I just want to keep it small, keep it mom and pop, I make the stained glass and my wife does the books on the weekends, and every now and then I get a bigger project and I hire somebody to come in and help me for a few hours a week, and you want to be a small business owner and you're happy with that, by all means, God bless you. But then we're not going to have a discussion about being a CEO. Because to me, a CEO is somebody that has others responsible for certain tasks or divisions or departments, and you let them get on with it. And then they report to you regularly, and you have a weekly meeting with them minimally, and you're talking about your strategy, your vision of where that particular part of the company, that division of the company is going. And so it is I don't know, maybe some people say that I'm splitting hairs, but I think it's a big difference. You have a small business and you want to own it and work in it. Someday retire from it or sell it. Okay. But then I don't want to hear any complaints that you haven't had a vacation in 5 years.
Right.
I don't want to hear any complaints that you could make more money working for somebody else, because that's what you're choosing. So I think, at least I know, the clients that we are working with all have the vision of being able to pop themselves out of the company and work on the business rather than in the business. And when something comes along, they want to be able to delegate that responsibility. And so for me, in the small business arena, that's the difference between being a business owner and a CEO.
So you're saying that the business owner is the guy stuck in it, doing the work, afraid to hire people, not training people, not turning over the responsibilities, whereas the CEO is the person that's the visionary of everything and getting other people to do the work.
Yes.
And you can still be a business owner. You can still be a business owner and have no doings in the day-to-day of a business, and not be active. But a CEO and a business owner is the person who's taking control and taking charge and not just doing it all themselves.
Yeah, because, and we can just morph this right over now into, well, what does a CEO do then? And so, well, the CEO, number one, is responsible for the vision. and the direction. Like somebody comes along and they have this idea. You're at the Chamber of Commerce meeting and somebody says, well, you could do this. And we're like, well, I'm already doing this. I know, but you could add this to it. Okay, well, then what does the CEO do? Well, you're already doing this. So do you want to add this? You better go investigate it. It does look like it's similar, but then is this going to be a distraction from this right here? Well, that's what the CEO has to decide. And that's not anybody else's responsibility other than the CEO.
Right.
The CEO then has to talk to the accountant or the banker or the technician, in the company that's making these. Could we also make these? The technician go, oh, wow, not without another $300,000 worth of equipment. Well, then the CEO has to decide what's the margin. If we go ahead and start making these now, what's the margin? Are we going to make any money? Is it worth a $300,000? That's what the CEO does. Right. And typically speaking, the small business owner who has no vision of being able to pop themselves out is so busy making these, they would never entertain the idea of adding this to it because they already haven't had a vacation in 5 years. So there's not to me, with the small business owner, if you're very happy just doing what you're doing and keeping it small, small, I don't know, small could be 5, 10, 20 employees. It doesn't have a definition like that. It's just like you have a particular path that you're taking and you don't want to, rock the boat, then by all means, just go along. This is not any type of an invalidation or criticism of small business owners who don't have the vision of popping out. It's not a criticism at all. But I am on the flip side of that. If you do have the vision of popping yourself out, well, then you are going to be the chief. You say chief cook and bottle washer. Okay, well, but then if you're out here being the chief cook and bottle washer, then you probably have other bottle washers in your company that you're giving some direction and vision to.
Yeah, and if you're going to be a business owner and you're going to be the guy doing the work, if I make, let's just say I make red bricks and I'm a specialist at making red bricks.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to do is be the guy making red bricks. Then you have to have somebody running the show being a CEO, because you aren't being a CEO, even though you are the business owner. You're not being the CEO. Nobody is looking forward. Nobody is coming up with new product development or handling staff and hiring, because the guy's just making red bricks all the time.
Yeah.
So there has to be two different roles in that situation.
Right. And so then let's take a look at, you have the machine that's running. You have managers managing the machine to keep an eye on it and make sure that it's running well and it's oiled and it's not breaking down. And then we have the CEO, the creator of this game, up here. So I'd like to spend, a little bit of time here talking about, okay, so I do want to be this guy. What are my responsibilities? And so in that arena, there's a ton of stuff. First of all, you have to be properly licensed. It's like, true. If there is a retail merchant's license that hasn't been renewed for 2 or 3 years, what are you doing? The city, the county can come in and shut you down because you didn't give them their $49 a year or whatever, because you're too busy making stained glass or whatever, So all the proper licenses and legal requirements are the responsibility of the CEO. Let's talk about filing taxes. In today's tax day, May 17th, right? We had a client we picked up once that had not filed for 4 years. And Abby and I were just kind of flabbergasted. Like, what? You haven't filed? You must file. It's one thing to file and not pay the tax. Okay, that can get you in trouble. You can get real big trouble for not filing, not even filing. And I'm kind of like, what's your accountant have to say about this? He goes, well, I don't know. He doesn't think it's too big of a deal. I'm like, dude, this is a big deal. You need a different accountant. So anyway, we got a different accountant. Within 90 days, all the taxes were filed. And the silly thing is that there was money sitting there to pay the taxes.
Right.
And the accountant was just being a loser. But that's the CEO's responsibility. Now, as a small business owner, guess what? You have to have all your licenses. You have to file your taxes. So they're all very similar, right? But then the big difference for me with the CEO is vision and future. You must be creating a vision. Where are we going to be in 12 months? Not just like a New Year's resolution on January the 1st. You know, you wake up after your New Year's Eve celebration. And you go, this year I'm going to double. You know, I'm making a New Year's resolution. This year I'm going to double. All right, you can set that up as a goal, but then the CEO is going to sit down and map it out.
Right.
Sit down with the director of sales and marketing and map it out. Sit down with whoever's doing the hiring or whoever's doing the production. If we double our production, what's going to happen? You could watch your production manager just turn white. Like, we don't have the capacity for that. Well, then that, and now that doesn't mean on New Year's Day you don't set the goal to double, but then you have to sit down with these people and you have to figure out how you could. So that's where now you're exercising some leadership. And whether you want to call yourself the CEO or not, that's basically what it is that you're doing. So you're creating a vision. You have a strategic plan. It's in my book. You have a strategic plan. You write up your action plan and you monitor the results. And every week you have to look at the results. You look along with your staff and you sit down with your staff and you look over the results. And so this is how many widgets we made, and this is how many widgets we sold, and this is how much money went in the bank, and this is how much profit we had from selling the widgets last week. And so that's what the CEO does. And I think for most small business owners, and this is very interesting, I was having a discussion with a client today. We have one of our clients who we've had now for coming up on 2 years who does has yard mowing and landscaping. And, you know, we were talking about how, so right now we have 4 chiropractors, the landscaper, pest control. We have 2 home inspectors, restaurant owner in Buffalo. And we just recently picked up a kidney doctor. The technical term is a nephrologist. I don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure he went to school for 10 or 11 years.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. And so we have this entire wide variety of clients that we're helping here. And guess what? They all have the same problem. So you have your 4 pillars: marketing, sales, delivery, and management. And every one of them is a true professional on delivery. Every single one of them.
They're all trained in that.
They're all trained in delivery. And so that's what they focus on. We're going to get better at delivery, better at delivery. We're going to make a better widget than anybody else. Deliver, deliver, deliver. And for the most part, they don't have enough knowledge on marketing, on sales, and on management. And so for the small business owner, what we're here to do is advise on how, if you can deliver at this level, how can you market, sell, and manage at this level? And that's basically what we're doing. And so the problems that the kidney doctor has aren't any really different than the chiropractor has, aren't different than the landscaper has. It boils down to the 4 pillars of business basics. And so from my viewpoint, your responsibility as the CEO, whether you want to put it on your card or not is irrelevant, but your responsibility is expansion. That's what this is about. How are you going to expand? How are you going to follow profit first and make sure that you have money in reserves? With all of our clients, we strive to have at least 6 months of operating expenses in an emergency fund. Who would have ever thought COVID would do what it's done? I mean, we're over 12 months into this thing now. And so that's what the CEO does. And you have to create that vision and have the strategic plans and the action plans and monitor the results. And then the other critical thing is you have to be setting policy. So policy gives a parameter. There's borders of, I mean, even as basic as your office hours or what's your vacation policy, you know, whatever it might be. And so you have to write down policy. And we just did a video on this week.
I was going to say, didn't we just film this a week or so ago?
Yeah, I don't know if it's been posted yet, but it's just,
it hasn't yet, no.
It's another key point of being a CEO is like you establish policy. And so what is your policy on paying for the product or service? Is it payment in full? Is it 50% down and to start, 50% at delivery. And these are big deals. When was the last time you raised your fees? That's a CEO decision. You have to sit down and do an evaluation. And so these are all the types of things that the CEO is responsible for. And whether you want to call yourself a CEO or not, these are the things that you do. And then finally, whether you're the business owner or a CEO or whatever, you are the face of the company. You're the brand. And you have to be able and willing to put yourself out there as the brand. And if you're going to be the CEO, then and you want to have a big organization, big operation with 10, 20, 30, 50 staff, then you got to put yourself out there, and you got to promote yourself. You got to promote your product. You got to promote your company. And so those are all the functions of the CEO. And if my advice is you want to be the CEO.
Yeah.
So that you have a machine that can run with or without you, and you have people to delegate things to. And so that's going to take all of the components of marketing, sales, delivery, and management. It's going to take them all, but then you can pop yourself out, and you can start popping yourself out in as little as 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, and it just really comes down to, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. You said something earlier, like, you have to decide on your prices, or do you need to raise your prices? That's what a CEO does, whereas a business owner is kind of just like running around day to day trying to make things happen. There's like a different, I don't know how to say it. I mean, I guess it's just there's a different hat. One guy is the business owner, is running around, making the bricks, putting everything in the machines, running this, doing that, comes up with the brick. Whereas the CEO is sitting there saying, how do we increase efficiency? How do we get more people selling our product? How do we, the shipping, gas prices are going up. How do we combat that? There's a different perception that the CEO has of the wholeness of the situation, whereas the business owner is sort of stuck in just the one aspect of the business.
Yeah. And, as you're saying that, the picture that I'm getting is that with the business owner, I think more has the business running them, whereas the CEO is more outside the business running it. So,
exactly.
It's kind of like the business owner is just going with the current, and underpaid, hasn't had a vacation in 5 years or whatever, whereas the CEO is more like got the remote control boat out in the river, and we're going to do this, we're going to dodge this, we're going to go that way. And so that's the vision and the picture that I have of the CEO, where you're more outside the machine, and really the workers, whoever is helping, no matter what the business is, they're counting on the owner to be the leader. They're counting on the owner to steer around the landmines. And so the CEO, I think, has more of a view and a vision of getting up above the fray and looking ahead for the landmines and trying to dodge them. Whereas it's more like the business owner is kind of in the submarine, and then you hit a landmine and something blows up and you're like, whoa, what was that? I didn't see that coming. So one, I get the idea is being more the effect of the business, and the CEO, I get the idea of being more in control of the business.
Yeah, definitely.
And even, and it's huge plus for us when an owner comes on board and say, listen, I know I suck. I'm not doing a very good job here, but I really want to be here. I really want to be working on this thing. I really want to be expanding. I want to be taking on business into the next county or into the next state. That's way ahead of the game. And so others come along and like, nope, I'm just kind of being chewed up by the business and I don't have time for what you're offering. So then that's really the business is going to run them, is the bottom line.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. The CEO is the one that has the vision and the ability to get the people to put it into action, and the business owner is the guy running around trying to make it all happen. And I guess I kind of equate it to like a coach. The coach of the team has the players, they know how they want to get a certain amount of points on the board, and they call up the plays and they put everybody out there. But Bill Belichick's not running in touchdowns, right?
Right.
He's seeing the whole picture. But it's kind of like that with business. The executive has to be able to look back and see what's going on and make the decisions that are going to guide the workers into that area.
And I think that's a really good analogy because, every week in the NFL, there's a new team with different strengths and different weaknesses. And Belichick's job at the end of the day on Sunday, he goes home. I don't know if he even sleeps much that night because he's got to start watching film Monday morning about the upcoming opponent. What's our strategy this week? Because the strategy that worked last week, I mean, they're
totally different.
Their quarterback sucked. This week we're going up against Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, and we have to have an entirely different strategy. And so I think that's a very good analogy as to what the CEO really has to do.
Yeah. So you have to decide for yourself and your business. Are you right now being the coach, or are you being the player running around trying to make the touchdowns happen, right?
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be the coach. You're supposed to be the visionary, and the workers and the other guys around you are supposed to be helping aid you in that. And it's not like every business and every CEO everywhere is just sitting around, smoking a pipe, looking at statistical graphs, trying to figure out what's going on. There's a lot of business owners and CEOs who are very involved and very active. I'm not trying to say that as a CEO, you don't do anything, but it's somebody has to be wearing that visionary hat. Even if you are the guy making the red bricks, there has to be an hour of the day where you're not being the guy making the red bricks. Yeah. You're like, okay, the equipment is off. I'm not making bricks right now, and I'm going to figure out how do I take this brick business to the next level, even if it's just for an hour that day or whatever it is. But during that time, you're no longer thinking about making bricks,
Right. And the other part of this really then is communication. Mm-hmm. So you come up with an idea, so you have this particular strategic plan, and you then take it to your director of sales and marketing, your production manager, whatever it might be. And these, I don't know, maybe there's 3 of you, like at Matterhorn right now, there's 3 of us. And so one of us comes up with an idea, and we have a staff meeting every Friday at 10:30, and we report on our statistics for the week, and we have our strategic plan that we're operating off of. And then somebody comes up and they say, hey, I have this idea, and we kind of kick it around. And then, ultimately the decision is mine because I am the CEO. And if it's going to cost us money, I have to make that ultimate decision. But then we talk about it every week. And I do know business owners that don't communicate. And so you have to take a look. You can't complain to me that you can't hire anybody that stays if you're not giving them any future. So they're coming to work for you for $15 an hour, and one of your competitors offers them $15.50. Well, that's on you if they leave for 50 cents an hour. And you're like, I had big plans for you. I'm like, well, did you tell them?
Right.
Well, they hadn't been here for their 90 days yet. So, so for me, that's just huge. You have to communicate to the people in the organization, the wins. Hey, we did a great job on this yesterday. We did a great job on this last week. We did a great job last quarter. It was our best quarter ever. And you have to communicate with them and let them know where is this ship going? How are we doing in this game? Are we winning? Are we losing? Where's the scoreboard?
Right.
And that's another thing is I've got one client. It's May the 17th who doesn't have a profit and loss statement from the accountant from last year. I don't want to hear that it's tax season.
I know.
I don't want to hear it. How am I supposed to make a decision for the first quarter when the first quarter is freaking over?
You see, that person's being a business owner, not a
Yeah,
CEO.
exactly. Exactly.
You're just a robot being told where to go by your accountant who's 4 months late on the profit and loss statement. You're not
Yeah.
making the decisions and you're not in control.
And I do want to, with regards to communication, because the people need to know what's going on. So there's this fellow that I know, Stu Showerman, who has a company you may have heard of, KnowB4, KNOWB4, and their product is training companies on cybersecurity for their employees. And I won't ever forget this. This is one of the more phenomenal success stories I've ever heard. So Stu is a sharp businessman. He bought and sold a couple of companies. So he started this company, and I met him for the first time in August of 2014. He was in a bank building in a small space in downtown Clearwater, and there were 10 people and Stu. And a friend of mine introduced him to me, and it was a fairly nice space, and he stood at his computer in the middle, and he was explaining what he was going to do, and that was 2014. And then in 2015 he grew, and then 16 and 17, and pretty soon he's got like 100 employees, and then he's got 250 employees, and then I hear he's got like 500 employees. And I was talking to some people working for him, and this company is growing. And to compress the story, so that was what was it, 7 years ago? All right, last month KnowB4 went public with 1,500 employees and a $3 billion valuation. And you know what? Every morning from 9 until 9:15, the staff have Stu on their computer. Every single day. So I don't want anybody to get the idea that this is something that, like, oh yeah, I buy my yacht and I go cruising the Caribbean and I'm the CEO. And yeah, somebody's got that, I think.
Right.
This is not disconnected at all. This is being a visionary, it's being a leader, it's focusing, but then it's communicating down into the group. And Neil and I know lots of people that have worked there, and for the most part, people are very happy working there. So, but I think it's very impressive that the CEO of a public company, publicly traded company, went from zero to $3 billion in 7 years, and the CEO's on the screen every day, letting the crew know what's going on. And they got 1,500 employees now. I don't know, probably by, I don't know, the end of next month, they'll have 2,000. I don't know. But at any rate, for me, these are very, very important things, but it has to do with your intention. What do you want to have? And how do you see yourself? And if you're sitting there saying, I want to work on my business instead of in my business, well, then you're portraying yourself to be the CEO at some point. And so then you need to start doing the CEO things.
Yeah, just start doing it. Figure out what areas like, let's see here. How do I word this? Think of the things that you know that you're doing, that because you're doing those things, you don't have time to work on other things. So make a list of those things that you don't have time for that you know you need to do. And you have to start setting aside an hour a day. I mean, at least a half an hour a day, where for that half an hour, you are no longer the guy making the red bricks. No matter what is going on with the red bricks, you shut the machines down and you work on the business each day for a certain amount of time. Because if you think that you're always too busy to do that, then you're never going to get ahead. And if you're disorganized, you're never going to have enough time to get organized.
Yeah.
So you just have to start getting the organizational things put in that you know you need to be working on, no matter what it is that's going on around you.
So before I picked up my phone, it's Monday morning. Before I picked up my phone, I made my battle plan for the week. 3 major activities, here, and then the personal stuff. It's hard to do backwards. What personal things do I have to get done? And then these are the other 3 companies that I have a major role in. And so I did this before I picked up my phone, before I checked my email. This is my plan for the week. And then I use yellow highlighter, which is like, this is stuff's got to be done today or tomorrow. And so then this is what Neil's talking about. And if you have to get up 30 minutes early or an hour early or whatever it might be, this is what you have to do. And now I've got it right here in front of me every day. And then I keep it in we went over some of these tools on another video that we did, but this is my daily planner now. And I take the activities off of here, merging with the other appointments on my calendar. And this is how I put my week together, always on the fly, but keeping in mind, where am I going with this company? Where am I going with this project?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
there's a lot of work to do. I don't want anybody to get the idea of, if I'm going to be a CEO, put my feet up on the desk and smoke cigars and drink scotch.
That would be a good job, though.
It would be. So anyway, I think I've said my piece.
Hi, Chris. I've been seeing your comments. Greg's just been on a roll tonight, so I didn't have a chance to interrupt him to say anything. But yes, that's good. Chris has been leaving some comments down below.
Hey, Chris.
And Chris, I'll see you tomorrow at the live. Looking forward to it. I know you're excited about hearing about the marketing aspect. So, well, I think that kind of sums up what we wanted to say about being a CEO versus being a business owner.
Yeah.
If you have more questions on this, we did release a video last week. I think it was Wednesday on, let me get the exact title of it, but it was a recent video that we put out on, what does a CEO do? So if you haven't watched that video, go watch that. That is a 9-minute video or so that Greg did on the role of a CEO. We wanted to take that and expand upon it a little bit more here tonight. And again, if you're having trouble, read Greg's book, Fun at Work. You can buy it off Amazon. We had somebody text us just a couple of days ago or a couple of weeks ago saying they read the book, they loved it so much, they bought 3 more copies for their managers to read at their company and all that. So it's a fantastic book. It's going to walk you through how to start having more fun and how to get more organized. And then this week we'll have 2 more videos out, Wednesday and Friday, and next Monday will be the usual Monday night live at 7:00 Eastern time. And for the YouTube member partners, or the people that are in the YouTube membership, tomorrow at noon we are doing a thing all about external marketing. So if you're watching this later and you go, man, I wanted to see that about external marketing, well, just join the YouTube membership down below, hit the join button, and you'll see all of the live trainings that are done for the YouTube members and watch them at your leisure. So that is what we have for you tonight. Did you have anything else you wanted to say before we end off, Dad?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, everybody that's still on, hit the thumbs up button down below. That helps out the stream, and we will see you next week on the live.